Welcome to Read Your Comics. Today I'm looking at The Kingdom #1. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to be looking at the first part of the sequel to Kingdom Come. But before I dive into that, I just want to say thanks to all the viewer support. Every like, comment, and subscription is appreciated. If you're enjoying this positive comic content, please consider hitting thumbs up. Comments are always encouraged. And if you haven't already, why not hit subscribe so you never miss out on any future videos? I created this channel to entertain, inform, and maybe even inspire you to read some comics. If you think that's a good message and other comic fans need that in their feeds, then your likes, shares, and subs tell the YouTube algorithm to put it in front of them. Now, let's take a look at this Alex Ross unapproved Kingdom Come sequel. So everyone knows the masterpiece miniseries about a dystopian future of superheroes run amok that Superman had to come back and put back on the right path. It's a great standalone story. It was really about how comics had changed in the 1990s and Alex Ross and Mark Waid wanting to get it back to the basics. It was obviously such a massive success that DC had to keep capitalizing on it. So first they approached Alex Ross and Mark Waid to do a sequel of sorts. And Alex Ross didn't want to do a sequel. He felt like the end of Kingdom Come was the end of the superhero age, and that all of the superheroes, the remaining, would have pretty much retired. It was the war to end all wars, so to speak. But he did have an idea for a prequel ongoing series, and so him and Mark Waid started to develop that. It didn't work out for whatever reason. I guess DC editorial probably put too heavy a hand on things, so Alex Ross eventually abandoned the project. Mark Waid stuck with it, and this is the first part of it. Now, this wasn't a mini-series in the sense like Kingdom Come was. Obviously, it's not painted, but it's just a 2-issue series of The Kingdom that bookended a bunch of one-shots in the middle. I think about 6 or so one-shots appear in the middle. I bought these as they came out. It's not bad. It's not really great in any way, but kind of like the Before Watchmen miniseries, it doesn't really feel necessary. This didn't need to happen. Later on, Alex Ross would go work with Jeff Johns in the JSA regular series and do a more direct sequel to Kingdom Come that worked really well. And I wish I still had those. I sold off that run a long time ago, but that would be a fun one to cover if I still had it. But let's jump into the Kingdom and see what Mark Waid did with it when he was left alone, and I guess with some DC editorial pushing him in a certain direction. Ariel Olivetti is the artist on this. This isn't the Ariel Olivetti that I think of. When I think of Ariel Olivetti, I think more of like painted covers. So looking back on this, just seeing his pencils is kind of strange to me for some reason. I don't know why. I looked at it before, but yeah. So we're just going to get penciled and inked work from Ariel Olivetti on this. So it starts out typical Metropolis day. Superman flying through. There's some people saying, like clockwork, sigh, look up in the sky. And they don't seem overly impressed like it happens all the time. And all of a sudden you see Superman's fist kind of hitting like a barrier. Boom! And he's pushing on it. And the narration is kind of saying he deserved better than this, but he's in a prison. And if we'll notice, this is not the Kingdom Come Superman S right here. We also have a little coloration in the hair right there that's purposeful. Nice little pan in here to let you know that there's a transition happening across the pages. Then we find Deadman, who did play somewhat of a role in Kingdom Come. So, we're hitting those marks. Superman in the Kingdom Come S shield right here, and he is confirming that he has been killed. The Superman of Kingdom Come is dead. I guess the reader is initially supposed to think that maybe he died in that nuclear blast in Kingdom Come, but of course, we got an epilogue that he didn't. But they start discussing how he could have died. Deadman wants to know when he's from. Like, what day did you die? What day was it? year was it? And finally, Deadman's like, okay, yeah, 2031, July 10th, 2031. Yeah, we've been expecting you. Come see the others. And he says, others? And there's a host of dead Superman spirits waiting to move on in the afterlife. And it turns out that each one is from the day before, more or less. So Superman is dying through time going backwards. I like seeing these old video game ads. Even those bring back memories of 1999. I guess I should have said this came out in 1999. So then we start kind of looking at like the different ways that Superman has died. And it looks like Magog here from Kingdom Come is the one that's doing it, going back in time and killing him. Now, Magog came around at the end of Kingdom Come. So you're kind of questioning, why is he now going around killing Superman through time? I like this of all the dead Superman using their super telescopic vision. That's very Silver Agey Superman stuff. Mxyzptlk gets killed even by Gog. Or you think it's Magog, but it's really a character named Gog. And we keep getting these deaths of Superman through here. Here he's even using the pod that brought Superman to Earth to slice him up and kill him. And I guess he's taking pleasure in doing it different ways each time. Here he's got him strapped to some kind of Krypton bomb. And it's not Earth he's blowing up. I don't know what exactly he's blowing up right here. But this one he doesn't even really kill. Well, he does, but it's going to be in English. And just having him kind of die in deep space of as his body turns to kryptonite, living kryptonite. Pretty gruesome. So we've got this Magog-looking character going through time, killing Superman. This is the first one to die. Deadman makes mention of use your X-ray vision to look through the cape, the robe, if you dare. So the mystery is established. Why is this character going back in time, killing Superman for every day? Essentially, he's trying to wipe out any instance of Superman that can come through the time stream and stop his ultimate plans. But who is this? Who is this person? So here we're going to get the base origin of it. This is basically what Alex Ross probably would have done. This 2 panels that was the in-between time. Alex Ross really wanted to do like a prequel of when the heroes retired and the next generation started to take over. Because in Kingdom Come, we just see that the next generation of heroes and anti-heroes they're just dominating and running amok. So that's what we're going to see here. And there's the Kansas tragedy where Superman reemerges and he finds one lone survivor. And the lone survivor basically turns Superman into a god and wants to worship him and stuff. But after Kingdom Come is all over and everything, Clark returns to him. And notice that Clark, he's not in his Superman clothes. He's just in his Clark Kent clothes. He comes to him, his name is William, and tells him, I am not a god. I'm not a savior. Kansas happened because I walked away. Like, it shouldn't have happened. I should have never abandoned my role as, protector, and that is what caused it. So don't worship me. If anything, I should serve as a warning. And that turned this Williams vision in from thinking Superman was a Christ-like figure to an antichrist. And then he gets imbued, his anger, his passion, gets imbued with power of galactic gods called the Quintessence. And he becomes Gog. And Gog starts by going and killing this Superman, the first of 1,000 times. And this is the Quintessence. You've got Zeus, Ganthet, Highfather, and the wizard Shazam. And they are kind of determining how the universe is going to go. And there's some interesting things about their machinations of like how they want to be perceived. Zeus, if people turn against the superhumans, maybe they'll return to believing in Zeus. Or perhaps the Green Lanterns can reassert themselves as the ultimate police force if there aren't the Earth superheroes around. The High Father maybe wants to see a similar cataclysm that separated good and evil directly, like it did in Apocalypse and New Genesis. And Shazam wants Billy Batson, his beloved Billy Batson, to be the hero that everyone looks up to. And the Phantom Stranger kind of calls them all out on that, but they all deny it, of course. And they're regretting what they created in William or Gog. Gog the God Killer. And that is something kind of that Alex Ross was wanting to do. And he wanted a character called Gog who was going to go around killing other godlike characters and thus inadvertently creating new characters that would be the ones that took over in the Kingdom Come story. And he wanted to do this while also kind of subverting some expectations of how we're going to get to the Kingdom Come thing, because it was supposed to be an ongoing. Anyway, that fell through. So now we get, I thought it was Legion of Superheroes at first, but it's these time characters called the Linear Men. Now, I know some of these. I know Wave Rider at least from Superman books. I don't know who this Hunter is, who they're going to kind of center on. And they're debating about how something's broken because Gog is traveling back in time and killing Superman. They're trying to figure it out. They're working frantically. And this Hunter character, is he supposed to be Rip Hunter? I don't know. I don't know who he is. Anyway, he kind of goes off on his own, puts himself in like a time, what do they call it? To conceal his actions from the Linear Men, I must seal off a time point. So he's going to like kind of seal off a point to try to take on Magog. And this time point he's going to take is the birth of Superman and Wonder Woman's child post Kingdom Come. If you remember the epilogue to Kingdom Come, they met with Bruce at a restaurant called Planet Krypton, which was kind of like a Hard Rock Cafe or Planet Hollywood with all kinds kind of like memorabilia around it. Anyway, and Bruce deduced that she was pregnant, and they wanted him to be the godfather. So he's at the Batcave monitoring it while Superman, or Clark, because he's not really Superman, they were supposed to have retired, right, is with Diana as she gives birth. And this was something that Alex Ross didn't agree with either, because when the baby is born, it's a boy named Jonathan. These characters basically signal to the Earth that Superman and Wonder Woman have had a baby. This new beacon of hope should usher in a new era, blah, blah, blah. Alex Ross felt like they would keep their baby closely guarded as a secret so that she could grow up with a normal life. And he even went so far as to say that they would probably grow up idolizing Shazam even. This was a big, I guess, creative difference with Alex Ross that made him abandon the project. Said, I don't really want a part in it. You want to make this a big deal. I don't want to do that. So he took off. And look who shows up. Blast Clark in the back. It's Gog. He's here. He's confused because he didn't know this time point existed. And I think that's where Hunter kind of tried to seal it off, I guess. And once he realizes that he's there for a baby, he's like, well, I'm going to come take the baby. All these other characters start showing up. Look at him frying these Amazonians right there. He brands Superman with his S on his chest. He's holding the baby hostage. The other heroes show up. Lots of comic booky mumbo jumbo of protecting the baby with, Green Lantern uses his power. Ray's like, I can move fast as light to get it. And like, he moves fast too. He could snap the baby's neck. And I mean, look how he's even holding the baby just with one hand. That's a Kingdom Come-ish moment. That was trying to reproduce that moment of Superman coming in Kingdom Come. Look at Dr. Fate. He's just a cape, the helm, and a single glove. I don't really remember him being like that. Big comic book battle. Batman finally shows up. I'm guessing this is Rip Hunter. They just call him Hunter. I think it is. Now that I think about it, it probably is Rip Hunter because I think there's a Rip Hunter one shot. Now he's like soaking up their energy and growing. I mean, look how big he is now. Now the baby's in the palm of his hand. They even say he's growing. They can't seem to stop him. They try to save the baby. It backfires on Green Lantern, who makes him short out. Rip Hunter's going to make his move, but Gog sees him coming, crushes his time band here that was kind of keeping him hidden. And then he has a big thing about taking the baby, protecting him from the evil that was going to be his parents. As I am Gog, so shall you be my Magog. So they're going to steal Superman's baby, and that's who's going to be Magog. That's the big reveal. Magog is the child of Superman and Wonder Woman. In every Cable-ish fashion, because Magog was kind of like representative of Cable and what Cable ushered into the extreme comics that would follow for the next almost a decade. Kind of a similar thing. Baby from the future taken to the past. I mean, Cable wasn't a bad guy like Magog kind of was. I mean, he was like a anti-hero, over the top, extreme measures kind of guy, but which is what Magog was kind of meant to be. The Gog here is a complete villain, though. So Rip Hunter's like, I'm going after him. Diana was quick to get back up right after childbirth. Wonder Woman, jump up. She had her little bit with Magog or Gog there, too. Look at this is the daughter of Barda and Mr. Miracle. Anyway, they have a discussion. The Linear Men show up, and they talk about like if Superman and Wonder Woman and Batman leave this timeline, it will destroy everything. And they end up just making the decision to give it a shot anyway. Rip pulls out he like sticks his hand in the time stream, pulls out their costume. So they're costumed up and ready to go. They're heading back in time. They're going to Kansas. I think Magog's plan or Gog's plan was to set off the Kansas tragedy like sooner. That didn't really make sense to me. Something about it would expose Superman earlier. I really don't understand that aspect of it, that plan point. They're going to go and try to stop it. Next page, it looks too late. And Martha and Jonathan Kent are caught. Well, looks like they're going to get caught in the blast. This is continued in the Kingdom number 2, which was, like I said, this was the Kingdom 1 and 2 are really kind of their own thing. And then they had one-shots of different characters. I guess there was one for Gog. You should probably read if you're going to read the series. But the other ones were like Offspring, which had Frank Quietly art and was, they're entertaining, but they're not. I don't think they're necessary to understand this like the Kingdom number 1 and 2. The ultimate thing that came out of this was Hypertime. Since Crisis on Infinite Earths did away with the Silver and Bronze Age of DC continuity, that stuff had been mostly left untouched. Hypertime was supposed to allow creators to dip into that and more or less give writers more ability to say this did or did not happen depending on the story they wanted to tell. I don't think it was ever used effectively because then we end up going into like a series of other crises, Infinite Crisis, Final Crisis, all these different crises. And the Superman we see at the very beginning, banging on the barrier, that's the Golden Age Superman. And in the end of the second book, as I recall, I don't have it anymore, but as I recall, he was trying to like hit that wall. And that, I guess, kind of got used in Infinite Crisis. But, again, this isn't a terrible event, but it wasn't really a necessary event to come out of Kingdom Come. I think Kingdom Come is best stands alone. And then when Alex Ross does his JSA sequel, much better, a much more fluid working of how to follow up that story or do an additional story as a companion piece to Kingdom Come. I think it worked better that way. So, again, not awful, not really necessary. Hypertime is the big thing to come out of it. Frank Quietly does the Offspring one-shot. If I get a hold of that, I'll do it on the channel too. Otherwise, that's all I got for The Kingdom #1. Until next time, read your comics.